The world's airlines are holding their annual get-together this year in Istanbul, and they meet in bullish mood. Carriers have more than doubled their profit forecast for the industry this year, lifting it to $9.8 billion. That as travel demand soars after the global health crisis. Fuel prices also show signs of easing. International Air Transport Association Chief Willie Walsh sat down with Reuters ahead of the body's annual summit. He says demand really isn't the issue for airlines anymore.
They're not concerned about the macroeconomic environment. They're concerned about the access to spare parts for their existing aircraft and the delivery of new aircraft. So it's definitely going to hold back capacity growth. I think it's frustrating because airlines can see strong demand, but they're not able to match supply with demand in many markets.
Soaring airport charges are also a concern. Walsh singled out Amsterdam's Schiphol hub as one that was making life hard for airlines. The industry also fears a repeat of the chaos caused at major airports by staff shortages and strike action. But Walsh says the trouble may come elsewhere.
Most of the airports, I think, will be okay as well. I think they've learned the lessons from last year. But the areas that we are concerned about this year, air traffic control, it's a European issue and it's a US issue principally. And to some degree, we may see some border control issues as well.
Airlines around the world, from Qantas to Ryanair, have lifted their forecasts for the summer. Many say people are desperate to travel again after years of lockdowns and aren't put off by high ticket prices. The next few months will put those predictions to the test.
Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. The UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony. The US and Russia are dangerously close to an armed conflict. This year, 2023, New Delhi will be the capital of global diplomacy. For a country as diverse as ours, with 88% of the population illiterate, it was a very big deal to write a constitution, and that too, the world's largest. Meanwhile, if we may, here's a Republic Day gift from India for the BBC. A list of suggestions for the BBC for their upcoming documentaries. Number 1, the Kohinoor and the colonial loot. Number 2, an outdated monarchy and unhealthy obsession with the royals. Number 3, racism in 2023. We're waiting.